So, Ethan, find any more toads lately?
Oh, yeah,
yes,
that's right.
I actually... Hold on. Here, let me text Nicole and have her send me the... Fuck. Well, I live in Minnesota and I go outside all the time. I'm gonna see toads.
Toads?
I've maybe
Like
seen
Mario?
like 1 or 2 toads in my entire life.
Well, Mikey doesn't really go outside that much, am I wrong?
Alright, here we go.
I mean, like,
Ethan.
I don't go out of my way to find toads, yes. I just think it's kind of weird that you have so many toad pictures to share during the Battletoads playthrough.
I mean, that's like...
But it's very dangerous to go without adequate equipment, like a condom. To finish this battle. Yeah, whatever. As Ethan requested, skipping the dialogue.
I'm somehow more alive than when I died.
And now, let's see. Do we want to? Let's see if we can if we can beat Zero.
Oh God, you have to bring both characters.
No.
You've only seen a toad once or twice in your life?
Maybe. It's not something I even really remember because it's so rare.
Well,
also Mikey doesn't go outside.
Yeah, I hate the outdoors.
Yeah, Mikey doesn't go outside.
Actually,
whereas like,
if I come with Zero, do I?
Because I inherited my mother's skin and I burn up like a bitch.
But that's what you got sunscreen for and umbrellas.
God.
My wife is a redhead, Mikey. And we're outdoorsy because of her.
Oh, here we go. Best song in the game, or one of my favorite songs. Okay, a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, like, oh God, this whole X versus Zero thing, because this has been being built up to since like X2 or X3, I don't remember exactly. At the end of one of those games, like the end text scroll where X is like, how much longer will X have to fight? When will the violence between humans and Reploids be done? In one of those monologues, it foreshadows the fact that eventually X and Zero will have to fight for the fate of the world. And that was supposed to be building up to this game, but because they fumbled the story so badly, it's just like, okay, so if the colony crashes, there's a chance that it'll destroy the colony, but Zero becomes evil, and a chance that the colony will crash, but Zero doesn't become evil. And if Zero becomes evil and you gave him a bunch of heart tanks, then you can't give him more heart tanks later. Or, like, all those heart tanks are just gone. So you can't upgrade. Like, you have to split 8 heart tanks between 2 characters.
There's even a W in the back for Weiro.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting him.
Weiro, he's really...
Dr. Wily. But it's like, if Zero doesn't turn evil, you still fight him anyway. And it's...
Mikey, in any of your home videos that you transferred over, did any of them have like any old TV recorded over them that would randomly show up in between segments on the tape?
No. Well, one of them
really?
Did. My dad had recorded the season... I think it was like the 3rd episode of the 2nd season of Deep Space Nine. And then it transitioned from that to... He had like transferred a compact, one of the tiny VHS-C tapes, to a full tape. So he recorded over Deep Space Nine with that.
With this fight, when you're Zero, X is in his ultimate armor, and he uses all his X4 moves. So all his weapons from X4, because he didn't get he doesn't get them in this game if you use Zero primarily. So at that cutscene, you'll see him use that soul body, where he said, "You got soul." He'll use that, and you can see that.
Oh yeah, you got soul, bud. Oh, the soul buddy. Yes. That happened to my dad's, like, or when I was. Oh, are there no like cutscenes in this game besides this?
They lost a lot of money after X4. Or budget.
Yeah, all the cutscenes look really cheap.
Oh, they're not animated, and there's no voice acting.
I'm fine with there being no voice acting, because they'd probably screw it up again, but as far as the English, anyway. But it's like, what for am I fight? I don't know. They
Alright.
could have had like dialogue-less animated cutscenes, like have like 1 or 2 of them. And
but
you'll recall that this is the game that made the AVGN quit, quote unquote. When he did his Mega Man Games episode, which is right, and you know that the series is in trouble at that point because that's apparently right when Screenwave took over. That was the first episode Screenwave worked on, and it's one of the worst ones.
the one where he pretends to be a younger version of himself.
Yeah, and he talks to himself in a split screen and edits himself over his old reviews.
Like, oh, I hated that shit. I watched that episode once and I never watched it again.
And now we have
part of the joy. Hey, there we go.
It's actually a different
we can
shade.
beat the game.
The colors are different in this game. It's different in X4, 5, and 6. It seems to get darker with each game. I don't know if that's development. They just kind of wanted a different version each one, but the theory is like the armor is decaying or something like that.
It's reverse Michael Jackson armor. It's getting darker.
Without the...
Ethan, edit yourself out of this whole playthrough.
A little scream and just fade out.
Look at that low FPS background thing.
It's the club mix. It's the club mix right now.
The system is down. The system is down.
This song's,
Oh,
this song's fun. So fun too.
This man's like Bubble Man. Is this the last level then?
No.
Oh my god. Ethan, there's 6 levels left now.
Every time you ask, a new level is magically inserted into the game.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
If you keep asking, it gets longer.
Nicole's angrily texting me right now. That's why I ask.
So from now on, do we have to give you like a super accurate estimation?
Or permission.
I thought it was only going to be 90 minutes.
It's just like...
I mean, we're still around like 2 hours only.
Yeah. Well...
You added 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, but I did have a funny story I wanted to share about Jabba's reincarnation.
Oh yeah.
Because I had realized that there's a friend that I've known since 3rd grade who got me into Zelda, and I don't know, we've had a complicated relationship, I'll just put it that way. But I realized that one of his Discord PFPs was the main character from Jobless. So it's just like, oh yeah, I just realized that your PFP used to be Rudius, and he's just like, oh yeah, that show's great. And I'm just like, honestly, Rudius kind of reminds me of what you were like when you were younger. And he's just like, excuse me? What the fuck, man?
Wow.
Who's Rudius?
The main character of Jabba's reincarnation.
Rudius Maximus, am I right?
No, Rudius Grey Rat.
That is his actual name. But yeah, because this guy he was like 7 years old, and he he would make sex jokes and reference like adult comedies all the time. So that's why he reminded me of Rudius, because Rudius is the reincarnation of a 35-year-old man in a child's body, so he knows things that children probably usually don't until they're much older. We'll just put it that way.
Right.
So I explained that to him, and that seemed to calm him down. But it's
So wait,
time for the obligatory boss rush.
Kids around your age weren't talking about that, or like joking around that kind of stuff at all, Mikey?
I mean,
What
he
stuff?
was. Well, remember, this is the same school where saying "shut up" was enough to get me sent to the principal's office.
Yeah.
And drawing cartoon bombs at the Olympics was promoting terrorism.
You were saving them from the train, though.
Because it's not like, remember how Ethan's like, oh yeah, I drew people getting disemboweled and tortured in a torture chamber, and I won first prize. Whereas I just
Yes.
literally had a picture of someone ski jumping over a cartoon 60s Batman bomb, and that was enough. Like, no explosions,
I mean,
just the
It
bomb.
was inconsistent because one time we were also like around Crimbus time, we were supposed to like draw a scene of like a good Christmas scene, and I drew like
You drew at Adam and Eve having sex.
no, actually no, it wasn't me. It was somebody else. I remember getting in trouble. Well, they didn't get in trouble, but they were told they had to switch it out with something else. They drew like a nice living room, and they drew like in the most tasteful way possible. They drew like a grizzly bear rug, and they drew a fireplace and a mantle, and above the mantle was like a shotgun against the, like a gun against the wall. They're like, nope, you can't do that. You can't draw a gun at school. She's like, well, okay. So then he just erased a couple lines and turned it into an axe instead.
Oh, that's totally okay.
It's like he's not drawing anybody holding the gun or anything. It's just a gun above the mantle, and they're like, "Nope, can't school, can't do it."
That reminds me of how
Columbine,
Ethan
right?
was trying to describe the Chekhov's gun trope in one of the earlier playthroughs. He was just like, "What's that trope called? Where if you see a gun above a fireplace, then it will appear." It's like the way he said
That's
it.
not what I said. You
I
dick
have
butt.
the receipts.
I didn't say that if you see the, it's called Chekhov's gun, and it's like if it's brought up, it's going to happen later. It's
You could have the
literally
receipts,
all
or
it
you
is
could not
the
have the
concept of
receipts.
planting and payoff, which is like fundamental storytelling stuff. And
That's exactly it. But I mean, like, yeah, it comes to mind a lot more. It comes to your mind a lot more quickly when they're talking about what happens after the universe is destroyed, and then he's like, a giant sandwich in the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, because what the fuck else was the climax going to be if they did not just talk about it right then and there?
oh, you're talking about Death Mix
The Angry Video
Slaughter
Game
or
Nerd
whatever
movie.
that kaiju thing is called?
Yes, they talk about it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I wonder what the climax of the movie's going to be.
But it's like, in context of that scene before like the payoff happens, it just seems like Cooper's talking nonsense.
It's like clearly you know it's going to happen. Like, there's no way an audience member would not think that, oh, this is what's going to happen later. This is going to show up again.
That movie is so bad, man.
What?
The AVGN movie is so bad.
Man,
It's terrible. We keep bringing it up again. And again.
Remember
again-
that part where they go to Howard Scott Warshaw's house and it has like a CGI turtle and lava in it?
No, I don't.
And then like
What?
they get to the end of the house and there's like some British guy living there instead who worked for the government when they covered up the alien or whatever happened in that fucking
And
movie.
he's like, I've got video games upstairs. And he has a Nintendo upstairs because of course he does. And they're playing the family pad fitness thing, and he thinks they're having sexual intercourse. Like, I've never done it on the pad before. And then he turns his volume all the way up so he doesn't hear them.
Nerds before birds.
What the fuck is that? Why? Or when James gets to sign that lady's boobs at the beginning of the movie, then Cooper's like, "Oh no, I'm his agent. I can do it." And she's like, "Okay," and then he signs on her boobs instead.
oh, the early internet.
That was
This is-
2014,
yeah.
dude. That wasn't the early internet.
Oh, the early internet.
I remember James in like one of the backward videos before that movie came out talked about how like it might end up being one of the worst movies of all time, but I gotta do it. And I thought he was just being like hyperbolic, but you know, if the shoe fits.
I feel like Red Letter Media did a better job with Space Cop.
The Space Cop is like a giant troll. So like
Yeah.
even if it is bad, it's like that's kind of the point.
But even their bad is like better than whatever AVGN and his crew were doing. It was more like I don't know.
Apparently that was
Alonzo
James.
didn't watch this movie.
What?
Alonzo didn't watch this movie.
Not the full thing. Only the parts that sucked, which was all of it. No.
So you have
Most
seen
of the
whole
clips. Just most of the
It's
clips.
Storm Eagle again. It's Storm Eagle again.
It's Storm Pegasus.
When's the next Mega Man game going to come out?
Never.
Yeah. 'Cause apparently 11 was the highest selling game in the series or something, and they still haven't made another one.
I mean, Mega Man 2 sold 1.5 million copies.
Yeah, in the NES era.
That's huge. What does the NES era have to do with it?
Because we live in an era now of like those big tentpole AAA games like God of War Ragnarok and Last of Us, where like they try to appeal to literally everyone. Because basically PlayStation and Xbox found out that when they make games like that, they sell so ridiculously well because they appeal to so many people that it's just not profitable, especially as games like the production required to make a modern game has skyrocketed, that now it's just not. Something like a Resident Evil 4 remake fits closer into that mold than a new Mega Man does, which is why newer Mega Man type games tend to be like indie games now, like what was it, 20XX is one of them. There's a game called Elsie that's coming out later this year that has Jadzia Dax from Deep Space Nine in it for some reason.
I still don't understand what you mean by, in the NES era, it sold 1.5 million.
Yes, because that was back when games were way simpler.
Yeah, the production
Well, there was
value.
way less production value.
They were also so much more expensive, and there's a less install base of people that had video games.
Yes.
Exactly, you're just
But-
fueling my point.
Yeah.
But that would mean less people would buy it because there's less people that own consoles to.
I'm not saying that Mega Man 2 is bad or didn't deserve to sell or whatever it is you're implying.
It doesn't make enough now. Or it does.
I'm amazed that Mega Man 11 sold more than Mega Man 2 is all I'm saying. It sold more than 1.5 million copies.
Well, the install base wasn't as big then, also.
Yeah, which is also literally what
That's
you
what I'm
said.
talking about.
So then, what are you talking about?
Ethan, edit yourself out of this playthrough. Ethan,
You
turn the
already did
playthrough
that.
off.
I don't know. 'Cause it used to be that back when games were simpler and were 2D and stuff, you could shit out a Mega Man game in like 3 months and it would be good. You know, and that carried over even into the PlayStation
Now you release The
era.
Last of Us, and you release The Last of Us 2, and it gets review bombed because it murdered people.
Yeah.
No, you released Last of Us 2 again, and then again, and then again, and
Well,
then
they only
again.
re-released it this year.
1
They
and 2.
re-released it on what?
Okay,
On
yes,
5?
one they've re-released twice. Well, the second one they've
Oh
only...
yes, they released one. But have they released? Was the re-release just for PS5 or what?
I
They
think
just remastered
so?
it many times. I don't know what they're doing.
No, they haven't. Have they released? They haven't remastered it for the PS4, is what I'm saying. Did they release The Last of Us 2 on PS5?
Yes,
Is
the
that the second
remaster
release you're
version is for
talking about?
PS5.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope they just released it on PC already, so I never have to
I
turn
think
my
that was-
PS4 on.
We
again.
already went over this last time we recorded. The Last of Us Part
I
1
know.
port was terrible.
Exactly.
So,
If they spend billions of dollars, they're still not going to put any effort into it.
well, it's like they keep hiring this company called Iron Galaxy.
Ooh, Iron Galaxy is great.
Well, they have some good they have a pretty mixed legacy, we'll put it that way, where there are some ports that turn out really well because they presumably had more time to work on it. And then there are other ones that were mediocre, like the Spyro trilogy port. Because they added 60 FPS to the Spyro trilogy port.
Oh my god!
Look at that Fisher-Price
thing.
toy.
Is this the final boss?
Yes. They added
Holy crap.
60 FPS to the Spyro trilogy, but they didn't consider the fact that a bunch of physics objects in the game were tied to frame rate. So there's like one... it's one of the Magic Crafters levels, the ones that has like the moving walls. If you play it in 60 FPS, you can't finish the level. So you have to switch to 30 FPS to get the walls to move. And then...
How could they let that happen? How could they... No quality assurance, was there?
Well, I don't know. Like, if the... Like, it's a game that has 3 games inside of it. And they were probably given, like, I don't know, 3 months to do the port, maybe? I'm not sure. So if they didn't have time to if they had time to literally just take the Unreal 4 project and just render it or recompile it as a PC game and maybe increase the frame rate through what's already in the engine, it makes sense. But that's always the problem.
But nobody played it in 60. Nobody played through the games in 60 frames a second and realized, oh shit, I can't beat this level.
Apparently not, or they found out but they didn't have time because Activision is a piece of shit company and it sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's...
Well, now they're going to get eaten alive by the game industry.
But I'm
they're owned
fairly
by...
certain Iron Galaxy worked on The Last of Us Part 1 port.
Zero's dead again.
And if I'm wrong, Ethan has permission to put a Mikey wrong moment in the playthrough.
Now you're wondering why I'm so fearful of the Silent Hill 2 remake. God damn it.
Oh, it's going to be bad. No, it already looks horrible. It's got the wrong vibes and everything. They got What's-Her-Face's design all wrong.
Yep.
There's too much action in it. It looks like you can shoot well. Yep.
They're gonna completely destroy the entire everything that made Silent Hill 2 a good
Isn't
game.
that literally what they did for Resident Evil 2 though?
Resident Evil 2?
Yeah, the remake.
Resident Evil 2 was kind of always like an action game going. Or Resident Evil, was always the vibe. Silent Hill 2 was psychological.
Silent Hill 2 is psychological horror, and characters and dialogue is what makes it important. I don't know about you, but I don't think the dialogue in Resident Evil 2 was that missed when it was updated. Hey, look at that. It's Roru. It's Raku.
No, that's Alia.
Isla. Or Alia.
The lady who never shuts the hell up in this game.
And now Zedro is deado.
Because they made it 5 games in and decided that someone needs to handhold the player all of a sudden.
Hey, that was Mega Man for what makes this game the best Mega Man X5 game.
The best Mega Man because it... Wait, the best Mega Man X5 game because it is Mega Man X5? Because it's not competing with itself?
You would catch that.
I think Ethan wants to know why this is your favorite one.
Oh, no, yeah, just because I played it a shit ton, nostalgia factor, just really liked the music and everything. I played it a bunch. I had this 4, 5, and 6. Didn't play 4 or 6 as much. I liked 4, but 5 just, I don't know, just gelled well. I just enjoyed the game, the mechanics and everything like that. Just played it a shit ton, honestly. It was just the game that I had on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch part 2 of Alicia Dragoon when you asked, like, oh, I think he was working on Java's Reincarnation in early 2000s, and for a split second I put the actual release date over a fart sound effect, but it was just like a 1/10 of a second, so it was just like, and then
I did see that.
So instead of a wrong,
that up now?
Instead of a wrong moment, well, because I don't remember. Something reminded me of it.
I also liked all the new characters they introduced to the game, although they're not used at all, which is unfortunate. They don't really come back as well, but I like the concept of basically
they're never used.
Developing a
Zero
team.
Also doesn't come back.
He comes back for 6, unfortunately.
Of course he comes back.
And then 7,
the one that
he's there.
The one that dies canonically is the one that comes back.
Well, he's died in 1. He's died in 2, I think. In 3 as well.
No,
he dies in 1 and 3. He dies
in
in 5.
1, and then this game. Then after the X6 has that ending where like that apparently takes place after command mission or something, where he seals himself in a pod, and that's how he ends up in 0.
Oh, that's right.
So, but originally the idea was he dies here, and then he's brought back some other way in 0. But when they made X6, Inafune had to pull something out of his ass. Because I don't know. Apparently,
remember in Dragon Ball when they go to Namek and Krillin wears a hat that says Krillin, but it says in Japanese English, so it says
Kuririn or whatever.
No, it says it in L, so it's Kulilin. When I was young, I had no idea what that meant. Then when I was older, I was like, oh yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I've maybe finished this game like 3 times. I think I did my initial marathon of the first 5 games back in like 2013 or 2012, like right before I met you guys. And I was looking forward to this one because Clement said it was one of his favorite ones, and Alonzo said it was his favorite game of all time or whatever, and I'm just like, oh boy, I can't wait to play this. Because you and I had communicated before we met in person. Because we were looking for roommates or something, and you're like, oh yeah, my favorite games are Sonic Adventure 2 and Mega Man X5, and I'm just like, oh, now I'm looking forward to playing X5 because Alonzo likes it. But then I played it, and I was just...
because Alonzo likes it.
Then I played it, and I'm just like, huh. That kind of sums it up, where like, I didn't get what you saw in it.
Of all video games I've played today, this is certainly one of them.
Well, yeah, but it's just... To me, this game just feels like X4 with a bunch of half-baked new ideas kind of stapled onto it that never really gel together. Like the multiple ending system, the part system is vague and confusing, where like you never know where you're going to get what. The idea that you have to split 8 heart tanks into 2 characters. The whole thing with you need all 4 armor pieces because they didn't feel like programming all the sprites anymore. It all just kind of comes together with a game that's not bad or anything, but it's also... It was enough for me to, because I knew that X6 was bad and X7 was also bad, so it was just kind of like, yeah.
It was enough for me to give it the middle finger.
It was enough for me to stop my marathon, and I still to this day have not finished X6, X7, or X8, even though I've played all of them for at least a little bit.
X6 one of the worst games ever made.
Well,
we'll get to that.
We'll see that next time when we all come back tomorrow to play that.
No, we're coming back to play more. Okay, fine. Mikey and I are going to be playing some 2-player games real soon.
Well, you're
apparently
gonna need
everybody wants Sunshine again, so...
Well, by everybody you mean 2 people, and they're going to get some Sunshine this week.
Nah.
Heck yeah. And by this week, they mean 8 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago.
I mean 7/22/2024, you're going to start to get... So you've already watched it.
Yeah, 7/22.
Hey, and now
remember the news that happened? Whoever's looking back at this in the future, look up the news that happened on 7/21/2024.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe Jimmy Carter died.
I can't believe Joe Brandon dropped out of the race.
Oh, now you're dating it.
Mm.
We just said what day we were recording on. Have a good one.
I didn't know you were
going to
give real dates. Oh, no. Final thoughts on X5 some more. Yeah, no, it's not the best. It's just, it's my favorite. You know, I think a lot of people, when they say favorite, they expect like, oh, it's got to be good or something like that. But no, I just kind of, it's a game that I just really enjoyed. Like, you know how people really love, like, for example, like Last of Us or Last of Us 2 or something like that.
Road Rash 3. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, or Road Rash 3. Like, the game they like, some people may not see that. But hey, you know, it's kind of what I've always enjoyed this game. I don't know why. It's kind of hard to explain.
I like shitty games. I like Action 52.
But it's not shitty is the problem. It's just not the best as compared to like a whole series.
To something like Glover, which is a game I like.
I'm just kidding.
which is a game I like, but like when I reviewed it, I was basically like, yeah, the level design's not that great, and the whole puzzle thing never really comes together, but there's still something about it anyway.
Yeah.
That I've replayed it more than I probably should have, so.
There's
Yeah,
something fun about controlling it backwards.
Well, that's only if you're standing on the ball.
Ballsy move.
Game looked good. Music was good. Graphics were okay. I would rate this game a 1 out of 22.
Oh, because of the hour 22. That's where your brain went.
All right. I love you all. We'll see you next time on Sniff Mavericks.
I'm the
See you next
Gump
time on
Goopricks.
Testicle Fart Sandwich Mavericks.
Yes.